Hello, this is Mrs. Poland, and we are continuing our discussion of Lesson 1.07, where we're representing two categorical variables. So let's read example 2 together. In 1912, the luxury liner Titanic, on its first voyage across the Atlantic, struck an iceberg and sank. Some of the passengers got off the ship in lifeboats, but many died. The 2A table below gives information about adult passengers who lived and who died by class of travel. So the two variables that we're seeing if there's an association with is class. So if you were a first, second, or third passenger, how likely were you to have lived or to have died? And so again, we can represent two categorical variables with a side-by-side bar graph, but let's use a segmented bar graph. So first thing that we're asked to do is to create a conditional distribution by survival class. Now, in the first example, we did it by hand, but now what we're going to do is we're going to do it using the applet statlet.com. So go click on the Statlet link, and when you do that, it's going to, I guess I have to click it. I thought I had already set it up. It's going to take you to Statlet. We're actually dealing with two categorical variables, so we're going to click on that. My internet is slow, so please bear with me. Okay, and we're going to complete the table. And so the first variable, the explanatory variable, is class of travel. So we suspect that if you were in first class, we suspect that you were more likely to survive. We'll see based on this information. And then the response variable is survival status. So we're just going to type that in, and you should be following along with me. Okay, so now we're going to put in our information. So first, second, we want to add a variable, so we're going to enter third. And those are our classes. For our own names, it's either you lived, you survived, or died. And let's enter the information: 197, 94, and 151. For died, it was 122, 167, and then 476. Okay. And next thing you're going to do is hit Begin Analysis. And I have it set to a segmented bar graph, but you could have had it set to a side-by-side bar graph. Okay, so that's the side-by-side, but we really want segmented bar graph. And if you scroll down, you actually have the conditional distribution by class. And so what we're going to do right now is you're going to put the video on hold, and you're going to copy that information into item number 2. So I'd like you to do that right now. The next item of the lesson on this example is they ask you to sketch the segmented bar graph. So you have to record the information, not just cut and paste, but I want you to actually sketch this out. So on the x-axis, you're going to label class of travel, first, second, and third class. You're going to make 3 rectangles of equal width and equal height. So for the those that lived, we're going to shade that in dark blue. Those who died, we're going to shade that in light blue, but you can change the colors. You don't have to use those colors. Okay, so you're going to then record the percentages. So for first class, it was about 62%, and then the balance was 38%. For second class, it's 36%, and the balance was 64%. And for the third class, it was 76% and 24%. And you should be sketching it on your papers. And this is how mine look. And again, I find it easier when I'm making segmented bar graphs to actually set it up first. Set up 3 equivalent rectangles. Make sure your X and Y axis are labeled as well. Finally, the problem asks, is there an association between class and survival status? So put the video on hold and write your response, and then we'll compare answers. So what you should notice is that when you look at the conditional distributions, so looking at the table, we can see that the numbers are vastly different, that distribution for each of the classes. And this is confirmed in our visual of the segmented bar graph. So we can see that if you were in third class, a higher proportion of the passengers did not survive, whereas in first class, the opposite was true. And so we say that there was an association. So here's an example of a response. The conditional distribution of survival status for each class is very different. Therefore, there is an association between the 2 variables. The percentage who died is much higher for second class and third class passengers. So have a great day and see you soon.